where they've been since March. The astronauts are discussing their upcoming return to Earth. Joining us now is Leroy Chiao. He's a former NASA astronaut. Leroy, thanks very much for joining us. What kind of projects has this crew been working on during their mission on the International Space Station?
So a lot of the research projects we do aboard ISS fall into two broad categories. One is life sciences. We're trying to understand how the space environment affects different living systems, including humans. And so we do a lot of experiments on ourselves, collect samples, things like that. The other broad area is material science. In the absence of gravity, it's a great place to study forming new kinds of materials, growing more pure protein crystals, things like that. So those are kind of the two broad areas of research that are conducted, but of course, many other experiments are happening as well.
From your experience, Leroy, what is it like to return to Earth after being on a mission in space for a long time?
Well, sure. Back in the shuttle program days, even after a 1 or 2 week mission, you come back and it takes you a little bit to kind of get back to your land legs. You know, it's you're very dizzy when you come down. You feel a bit disoriented, a little uncoordinated, and after a 6-month flight, it's the same symptoms, a little more severe. It takes you a little longer to get over it, but after a week or two, most crews kind of feel like they're pretty much back to normal.
And explain to our viewers and listeners, Leroy, why space exploration is so important. How does it help us better understand our lives here on Earth?
Well, sure. You know, NASA has a regular publication called Spin-Offs, and it's all about the technologies developed for space exploration that are helping make life better for people here on Earth. An example from my own expedition, on Expedition 10, we were part of a series of experiments that did remote telemedicine using ultrasound. So we were able to demonstrate with very minimal training that we could learn to look at what a good ultrasound image is and what a bad one is. And then we would act as the hands of the doctors on the ground, looking at the images coming down and telling us to move the probe this way and that way and sharpen the image. And we were able to demonstrate that we could take diagnostic quality images. And so, you know, that will be important in spaceflight for future missions to Mars, things like that. But also here on the Earth, the same investigators use that technique to go into rural areas in Central America and Africa. Kinds of things in remote villages. And so it was kind of a great example of something developed for spaceflight that has made life better for people here on the ground as well.
I recently had a chance to interview two women astronauts. We did a live interview. I was here on Earth. They were aboard the International Space Station. And I asked them this question, and I'm anxious to get your thoughts. What's a typical day on the International Space Station like?
Every minute literally is planned for you aboard the ISS. Your whole 6.5-month mission or whatever is planned down to the minute. You're working on a schedule, and then every night at the end of the workday, you've basically on your computer kind of indicated what you got ahead on, what you might have fallen behind on, and then while you sleep, the planning team replans the entire mission and ripples it through, and you get a whole new flight plan the next morning on your computer. So you've got research work you're doing, of course. A lot of time is spent on logistics and maintenance work aboard the station. You know, think about the station as a large house or laboratory. Things are breaking down or need some maintenance work. You've got to make way and collect stuff that's going to be thrown away to make room for new stuff that's coming up on the cargo ship. You've got rest breaks or, small short breaks built in, exercise sessions, meals, things like that. So you're pretty darn busy, and, you're pretty much scheduled for about 12 hours on and 12 hours off. And then, you go and start over the next day.
Good work, and we're grateful to you and all those astronauts who risked their lives to help us better appreciate what's going on, not only on the International Space Station, but here on Earth as well. Leroy Chiao, thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much.